Today we will take a look at the best waterproof camera for this year. If you want to find more information, check out links down below. Before we start, make sure you click subscribe button and like this video. Now let's get started. 5. Ricoh WG-80. The Ricoh WG-80's rugged build helps it survive drops, submersion, and freezing temperatures, but underwhelming imaging and video quality. The pocket-friendly Ricoh WG-80 camera is built for rough and tumble handling and works underwater at depths of up to 46 feet. It's significantly more durable than a smartphone, but so-so image quality, outdated 1080p video, and a display with poor viewing angles make the camera a difficult recommendation for adventure photographers. The WG-80 has a sporty, bold design. The bright metallic faceplate catches the sun and contrasts against the tough rubberized body. The orange variant we tested is quite flashy, but you can also opt for an all-black version. The design is standard fare for compact cameras. At 2.4 by 4.8 by 1.2 inches and 6.8 ounces, the WG-80 is easy to grab and slides into most pockets. The camera can survive at depths of up to 46 feet, withstand up to 220 pounds to foot of pressure, work at temperatures as low as 14 degrees Fahrenheit, and shake off drops from heights of up to 5.2 feet. The WG-80 is a waterproof camera, so it's light on physical connections. A locking side door covers the micro USB and micro HDMI ports, while the battery and UHS-I/SDXC memory card slots are accessible on the bottom. Dynamic range is another area where smartphones edge out the WG-80. The camera's standard mode has a tough time capturing scenes with both bright light and shadows. You often have to pick between clipped highlights and very dark shadows. 4. Sony A7R III. The A7R III takes Sony's proven high-resolution full-frame mirrorless camera and improves upon its speed, autofocus system, and video capabilities. The processor also drives a new autofocus system, which allows the camera to track moving action at 10 fps, at 42MP resolution, add a high-capacity battery, improved handling, and a larger viewfinder, and you have a full-frame mirrorless camera that is as formidable as competing SLRs. The top plate houses, to the right of the hot shoe, a locking mode dial, C1 and C2 buttons, and a dedicated EV dial with third stop adjustments from -3 to +3 EV. The power switch surrounds the shutter button and sits atop the hand grip, just ahead of C1 and C2. The top is unchanged from the A7R II. As with others in the series, there's no built-in flash. The C3 button has moved to the far left top corner, with the menu button in its familiar place to its right. The top row of controls aren't at as steep of an angle as they are on the A7R II, so they're a bit easier to access. The A7R III ditches the FW50 battery used by previous models. It opts for the newer FZ100 battery introduced in the A9. The larger battery has more than double the capacity. According to SEPA standard testing, the battery is good for about 650 images using the rear LCD and 530 with the more power-hungry EVF. 3. Canon EOS R. A capable but conservative full-frame mirrorless camera. It boasts crisp 30.3MP imaging and unlocks the door to Canon's spectacular RF mount lenses. The Canon EOS R is positioned squarely in the middle of its mirrorless lineup. It boasts a full-frame 30.3MP CMOS sensor, which is on par with the 5D Mark IV DSLR. The Canon EOS R is positioned squarely in the middle of its mirrorless lineup. It boasts a full-frame 30.3MP CMOS sensor, which is on par with the 5D Mark IV DSLR. The EOS R's 30.3MP sensor, Digicate processor, and RF lenses deliver formidable image quality. That magical Canon color science that everyone talks about is as good as ever. Even against Canon's latest bodies, images from the EOS R still fare favorably. Obviously, they can't match the resolution of the 45MP R5, but they significantly outpunch the 20.1MP R6 as well as the 24.2MP RP. The 1.7x crop on its 4K is hard to overlook and even harder to forgive, especially when it's capped at 30 fps. The 1080p mode is uncropped, of course, but is limited to 60 fps. For 120 fps slow motion, you'll need to drop right down to 720p. 2. Canon 5D Mk4. The Canon EOS 5D Mark IV was big news when it arrived, with pretty much every element improved over the previous 5D Mark III. The 30.4MP sensor is good. The noise and dynamic range are good. The DCI 4K video capture is good, although the 1.64x crop of the sensor makes it hard to get wide-angle shots. The build, handling, and ergonomics are good, but this is the issue for the EOS 5D Mark IV. Everything is good in a market where many cameras are outstanding. The EOS 5D Mark IV has Canon's dual pixel AF technology, so there are phase detection points on the imaging sensor itself, promising quicker AF acquisition than we saw in the Mark III, and performance as speedy as many mirrorless cameras. The EOS 5D Mark IV does handle well. The hand grip provides a very satisfying hold when you pick the camera up, and despite cramming more tech into the body, the engineers at Canon managed to cut the weight of the 5D Mark IV by 60 grams compared with the previous Mark III. The camera features a customizable button just below the joypad on the rear of the body. This can be assigned to perform a multitude of functions in conjunction with the front command dial. Canon claims the LPE6N battery is good for around 900 shots on a single charge. We use the camera heavily, and while we'd say 900 shots would be optimistic, we'd still be happy heading out for the day with a single battery. 1. Nikon D850. The D850 looks like the perfect do-it-all DSLR for professional photographers, but at this price it could appeal to a large number of ambitious amateurs too. Nikon has a number of photography genres in mind with the D850, including nature and landscapes, weddings, fashion and sport. The D850 sensor has been designed with no anti-aliasing filter so that it can capture the finest possible detail. The D850 comes with two very fast card slots, one for XQD cards, one for UHS-2 SD cards, and you'll need fast cards to go with them if you want to get anywhere near the quoted buffer capacity. The new sensor has a back-illuminated design and gapless on-chip microlenses, but inevitably the photosites are smaller than the Nikon D5s, for example, and the ISO range is lower. The D850 can capture and process 4K time-lapse movies in camera, or stunning 8K time-lapse movies with silent interval timer shooting, though you will have to use external software to combine 8K frames into a movie. The D850 uses the same NEL15A battery found in other high-end Nikons, but where you'd expect the D850 to be a power-hungry ogre, it's actually extremely frugal. According to Nikon, it will eke out 1,840 shots on a single charge, and that is truly impressive.